Well, this is bed 2. It is our main potato crop, and we have some of the rows are ready for picking. Now, we've had an awful lot of rain recently, but today is a dry day and we're expecting a dry day tomorrow as well, so we're going to use the opportunity to pick those potatoes that are ready. Now, we've got a variety called Epicure, and we have one called, I think it's Wilger. And David might be able to correct me with that one. Yeah, it's Wilger. Right, so we're going to pick those now, and that'll be our first potatoes from the allotment. You've picked your potatoes, you've brought them back to the house from the allotment, and there's a few of ours. Next job is to store them. Now, the last thing you want to do is just chuck them into a bag and hope for the best, because the chances are in a few months' time you'll go to get some of your potatoes and you'll find they've rotted away. So first job to do is to remove all the excess soil on them, and there's a typical example of how a potato ends up after you've just dug it up. A little bit of soil on it. Use your dry hands to rub them. Do not use a wet cloth, because you make your potatoes wet and they'll take that dampness into storage. So avoid that, because that will lead to them rotting. And it might be useful if you have had to dig the potatoes up when the ground is still a bit damp, just lay them out on some newspapers so that they can dry out for a couple of days, and that means that when you brush them down that the soil just powders off them. A couple of other things to watch out for. This potato has a hole in it, and that's been caused by some kind of insect or bug burrowing into it. So when you spot them, put them to one side, use those potatoes first, don't put them into storage, because those bugs and those insects or slugs inside there will spread to your other potatoes and cause them to be eaten or go rotten before you get the chance to use them. And there's one that is actually, it's a half potato. It was cut when we dug it out of the ground, and it's got a broken surface, so therefore use that up first. Don't put those broken ones in with the rest, because it will rot and it will cause the others to rot as well. After you've rubbed the excess soil off the potatoes, you then need to put them into something like this, a Hessian sack, or you can use a brown paper sack, and once they're full you need to store them in a cool, dark room, but don't put them onto a concrete floor. Put them onto a pallet or onto some wooden shelving that keeps them directly off the floor, and that way your potatoes should keep for a good length of time. So that's all the potatoes now cleaned and into the sack there, and that's our Wilger variety, and we've got about 10 times more potatoes still to come in from the allotment, so that should keep us going at least for the next 6 months, if not longer. And what I'm going to show you now is the pile of potatoes I've rejected from that pile. You can see this pile is reasonably large for the quantity of potatoes that we've put into the sack, but the reason why is because we've put in all these small potatoes, these tiny little ones. Basically they're not going to last very long in storage. The smaller they are, the less likely they are to store. We've got some with holes like that there, so obviously that's been nibbled by some kind of bug, so that's going into this pile here. This one has been just sliced through by the spade when we dug it. Here's one which has just been sliced right through, as is that one. Actually, looks like, I think they originally went together. So that lot is going to be used in a potato salad tonight, so that we can get them all used up and hopefully get a few meals out of that potato salad.